What is up, my viewers? Time for a World of Tanks gameplay commentary. This is one of my replays. My name is Spang, by the way. I figure I should mention that for new viewers. But yeah, anyway, one of my replays. This is actually a 9.5 game. And don't worry, for those of you who are still like, but I said in a 9.4 forever ago. Those are coming out just very slowly. This is actually the first game I've recorded in a good long while, about a month or so, and I'm just kind of getting right back into the groove of things here. As you can tell, it is a tier 10 match in my VK7201 on Prokhorovka. It is the default version of Prokhorovka, not the Fiery Salient one. And there are a lot of tier 10s on this, a few tier 9s per team, but no tier 8s whatsoever, so kind of a heavy hitting match. Even number of tier 9s, TD advantage goes to the enemy team, but is it really an advantage? We'll find out very shortly. Here I'm taking a bit of an odd approach. Now it is worth noting that there is no artillery, so that means a tank like myself can kind of go in the middle, mediums can especially go in the middle, and they don't have to worry so much about getting rained on and having their day ruined by artillery. Now, I do play artillery, and I have to say, I know there's a lot of arty haters out there, but playing artillery actually gives you a really good perspective on how not to die to it. Doesn't mean I don't die to it ever. No, I still die to it quite frequently, honestly, and I do get annoyed by it, even though I'm an arty player myself. But if you look at my tank stats, I actually play heavy tanks quite a bit, which is why I will shine so brightly in this VK7201. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with this vehicle, I'm sure a lot of you are aware, you could have gotten this tank as a reward for the third campaign. It was the reward tank for the second campaign, which is where I got it from. Now, third campaign, I actually didn't end up getting a tank. I just wasn't around enough to earn that. I did get the special camo, so I got that cool little bonus. But right here, I'm looking now. This is why I took this position. Cross shots on the hill. I'm going to take a shot and smack 755. If you're wondering what the cannon is on this monstrosity of a tank, it is the same 15 centimeter that is on the E100. Pretty much almost exactly the same in terms of penetration and damage. Now, there are some slight differences here and there. Overall, most people do prefer the gun on the E100 as opposed to this one. There we go, smacked him in the gun. Sorry for that little knock on the desk there. Hopefully that didn't pick up too loud. But the enemy team definitely sending a lot to that hill over there. Kind of surprising how many heavies and mediums they did send over there. Me, I'm just continually looking for that opportunistic cross shot here, and here I think I might get it, so I'm going to take a shot, and nope, just a little bit too high. Don't manage to make that E5 pay the price for turning his turret sideways to me. Now, the enemy team, the IS-7 kind of has a better idea, knowing that they probably shouldn't be pushing that far up, especially once he saw his IS-8 counterpart, you know, get smacked for 755. Right here, I'm going to try and get a shot on him. 745. The average damage of this gun, for those unfamiliar, is 750. And right now, the enemy team really doesn't have a lot of tanks elsewhere. I mean, you see the Auxilla pushing up along the railroad tracks. You see an Object 263 along the 1-2 line. We have quite a few tank destroyers that way as well. Making for kind of a stalemate, and especially since there's no artillery, tanks with good armor like that 263 and all those other tank destroyers there are kind of just, again, like I said, in a stalemate. They're kind of just standoffish. And right here, another unfortunate bounce for me on that T110E5, but I still have beautiful, beautiful cross shots here. And so far, the enemy team not doing too well for themselves, but doing well enough. I mean, it's still fairly even. Same number of tanks per team, same number of hit points per team, more or less, and not so much anymore. Just knocked out that T57 heavy right as the spotting was lost on him. So very beautiful kill for me right there. And that enemy IS-7 still playing probably smarter than the rest of his counterparts, but they don't really have much of an option anymore. I'm still looking for beautiful cross shots here, and that E5 is looking to be my next victim. Will I finally penetrate him? There we go, finally smacking him for damage after that being, I believe, my third shot on him, and the enemy team still in a world of hurt. If you notice, there are some colors to the enemy names over there on the rosters. And that is because, yes, there is XVM installed to where I can see player stats. As you can tell, I'm blue, and there's 2 blues on the enemy team, a couple greens. But obviously, I'm going to prioritize the blues. I know where they are on the map. That M60 is almost right in front of me, that 263 along the 1-2 line. But right now, I'm just saying, well, not really doing anything to threaten my existence or really threaten my team a great deal. The enemy push on the hill really stopped dead in its tracks, and I find it kind of funny the 215 is destroyed by, I mean, flip that, the E5 is destroyed by a 215, mostly because a lot of people do tend to favor the T110E5 over the 215 in terms of clan wars picking and all that sort of stuff. The 215, in my opinion, is a good tank. I've heard it praised by many good players that I value their input. and I am very close to getting mine, but the E5 definitely seems to be favored by a lot of other people who just look at the 215 but have never really played it, but they just automatically assume the E5 is better. STB1 coming up on my flank, and I'm going to say hello and goodbye to roughly 700 of your hit points. Now, I've started prioritizing our team's 1-2 line a bit more, simply because we have almost completely lost that, just like the enemy team has completely lost the hill. Our forces have pushed up there, and our Waffenträger E100 really not very useful anymore on that Charlie 9 area. I mean, I don't know why he's still sitting back there. There's no point to that. And will this M60 take up the last of my AP shells? If you're paying attention to my ammo count, I have 1 AP shell, 3 high explosive, which are queued up to be loaded next, and then not APC, I'm sorry, heat rounds. What am I saying? And that E100 right now, finally repositioning, maybe, and of course I'm referring to the WTH, as some people like to call it, the what the hell Waffenträger. And finally, yes, he is going to be moving out of that pretty much useless location of FV215B 183, which most people just call the Death Star or the 183. Simply sitting on that 2 block, that 2 line, hoping that maybe those enemy vehicles will push up and possibly one-shot one of them. I don't know if he's firing Hesh or not. I simply do not have that. I haven't been paying attention to his damage. But so far doing pretty well, speaking of damage for myself. Over 4,000 damage dealt, and got myself a kill. That M60 kind of getting himself in a world of trouble. Ooh, an enemy Waffenträger, there he is. He always makes me nervous. And if you've noticed, I've bounced a shot or two here and there, just showing that this thing actually does have decent armor. Very beautiful high roll, and I do believe, yes, that is why I was loading the high explosive, because I wanted that Waffenträger to take that sort of damage, but now he's already one-shottable regardless. Still, high explosive is going to be what's in my chamber, and bouncing a Foch and a 263. Beautiful, beautiful ricochets for me, preventing a lot of hurt and pain. But the 263 just saying your luck's not going to last forever, and he is absolutely right. That's why I'm falling back. I know that Foch 155. It's just funny how many of the same TDs each team has. But knowing that Foch 155, definitely not going to be something I want to get hit by again. I don't want to take the chance of getting bounced again by him. And kind of, again, reprioritizing that 1-2 line. We've lost another vehicle over there, the Jagdtiger, the 183, all by his lonesome, just sitting very far in that back corner. And I'm not quite sure what he's doing, but if I were him, I would probably be falling back to those destructible houses in the 3-4 quadrant and trying to, you know, be a little safer, I suppose, rather than just being out in the open like he is. Now, I'm getting a little bit aggressive here. Still worried about that M60, even though he is spotted. I know that he can come up on me at any moment. He is their most mobile player, and right here, I recognize that, oh, there we go. The Death Star version 2, the Episode 6 Death Star, that's not quite as good, half thought out. Let's face it, the 4005, the FE 4005 is definitely not a good addition to the game, and by that I mean it's anyone with a brain will not play it. That line is almost completely pointless, but unfortunately for me, and very fortunately for his paper armor, my shell does not go where it is intended, and he lives to fight another day. The 263 I know is over here somewhere. I'm just trying to abuse my armor, hide my lower plate. A lot of people don't know how to fight the VK7201, and I'm trying to take advantage of that. The 263 here finally lighting up in my sights, and he will get taken out by our fellow 183. Very advantageous for me. Still don't want to get Death Starred, even if it is the shittier version 2. Definitely wary of that convoy and that Waffenträger. Not sure exactly where they are, but again, trying to abuse ridges to hide my armor while still being aggressive. I recognize that I'm kind of the best chance our team has of winning at this point. Hit points very close to equal, almost identical, only a few hit points difference. Tank count pretty much identical. Well, it is identical, but Batchat helping us out there and taking out that Waffenträger, one of my larger concerns. The M60 getting aggressive, thinking he's going to blitz in here. I say, well, you're kind of my biggest threat considering you're blue, and our 183 just smacked you pretty good. Nope, that was the Foch. Never mind, making you a one-shot for me, who comes over the hill and goes, derp, hello, sir. Have you heard about the magic of heat shells? I'm actually very fortunate to have penned that, firing into his tracks. Heat shells are commonly known for disappearing into tracks for no damage, and very glad that did not happen right there. But right now, we do have a comfortable tank lead of 2 tanks, and hit points are still kind of even, though. Our team definitely not doing well for themselves on health. Me, I've still got 1488, which means I can most likely survive any shot that comes my way. Granted, if it's a Hesh round and it magically gets through my armor, impends me, if he gets a good shot, I could die. But at the same time, I'm feeling a bit ballsy, a bit brave here, and I'm going to push down the 1-2 line. I've pretty much stayed right in the center part of this map, just showing that without arty, a heavy tank can abuse this just fine. If you're noticing one other thing about the 7201, for a rear-mounted turret, it actually doesn't have god-awful depression. It's not the greatest depression ever, I'll grant you that. It's actually, there's plenty of tanks that have better depression, but it's not super bad, it's bearable. So, definitely a fun tank to play right here. 6 cents letting me know I'm spotted, which tells me I should probably back up considering there are 3 tank destroyers, and I know that they're pretty much all right over here, which I used to, when the Foch bounced off me, I saw it come from this direction. Therefore, I know, oh, there's that Death Star V2. He's looking right at me. I want to aim in on him, and he's backing up. He's like, do not want. He knows he doesn't have the armor to bounce, and he will instantly get vaporized by a little bit of focus fire. Looks like our Waffenträger E100 being the person to dish out that final shot. The Foch 155 definitely in a spot of trouble here. I've got perfect side shots on his armor, and he is going to be killed by me, maybe? Yes, he will. I'm a little disappointed I didn't get more damage off that, and I was the same in game as well. But overall, can't be too, upset over the fact that still doing very well for myself on kills and damage right here. This Conway, I know that he really doesn't stand any sort of a chance. I want to ram him because I know he's light and I'm heavy, and smack! 542. Nice, beautiful ram. He only did 13 ramming damage to me, then I will smack him with a heat shell, and overall just ruin his day. Right here, the Foch comes in to try and save me, even though I do not need saving. He's going for the ram kill. Will he get it? Oh, maybe not. There we go, the 183 killing our friendly Foch 155 with his Hesh round. Just completely uncalled for. He had no right to do that, and the enemy team laughing a bit at his misfortune. But again, it was his own idiocy that cost him that team kill. Anyway, let's go to those post-game stats and see exactly how well I did. Now, it is a little misleading. You see right there in the corner, I did 74-57 damage, but we'll see what the reality of the situation is here very shortly. And here we go. Okay, so as you can tell, Mastery Badge Ace Tanker, kind of hard to get in tier 10s, especially ones that people can typically do well. And now, the 7201, not sure how hard it is to compare with people, considering, I don't know, only certain players have it, and it's usually sometimes the higher skilled player. So, I don't know, but anyway, I ran whatever. The Confederate badge, the High Caliber badge, and the Tanker Sniper medal there. Kind of surprised I got that, but we'll see right here. Just so many enemy vehicles smacked. Just so much damage. And what I mean by so much damage, well, 9,199, and that's what I meant by a little misleading by that in-game mod tracker. So overall, 16 shots fired, 15 direct hits, 13 penetrations, and a few hits received myself, but still, a good chunk of that being blocked by armor. Not an amazing amount, but enough to keep me alive without a doubt. I certainly had less than 1690 hit points left at the end of that match. And actually a little bit of spotting damage as well, so being a bit of a forward spotter in a heavy tank, something that you don't always see, but also isn't too terribly uncommon still. Overall, let's look at the enemy team, and right here you'll see their M60 and their 263, their 2 blue players, definitely being the top of their team as well. So I know a lot of people say stats don't matter, and stats only matter to a certain extent, but at the same time, players are green, players are blue, players are purple, usually for a reason. And that doesn't mean they're always going to be on top of their game, and that doesn't mean they're always going to carry hard, and that doesn't mean they're always going to dominate lower players. I mean, lower skill, lower stat ranked players. Because, let's face it, lower skilled players are less predictable. And sometimes that unpredictability is actually what costs higher skilled players to lose to them. So it's one of those things that you can only attribute so much to stats, but in the matter of this game, the blue players were certainly carrying hard, myself included. But overall, they're definitely earning quite a bit of experience here, and quite a bit of credits as well. I mean, just the fact that I was firing those many heat shells, and fired that much ammunition in general, and still managed to make over 50,000 credits in profit. on a tier 10 vehicle, and you'll say, well, the 7201 is a premium. Yeah, but it really doesn't benefit from premium. I mean, it usually will tell you if you are, how much of your experience was, how much of your credits and such were from a premium vehicle. There we go. That's the words I'm trying to get out of my mouth. But if I wasn't running a premium account, we see very much differently that, well, I would have only profited 13 grand, but I still would have profited in a tier 10 match without premium after firing premium shells. Still impressive. Overall, I was very happy with this match. I really like the outcome of just being able to get that much damage. It's not very often I get such a good game in my 7201, and that was just right place, right time, you know, right RNG rolls. I mean, because RNG is always a factor. I wish it wasn't as much of a factor as it is in the game, and with the 9.6 nerf to accuracy that's coming out here very shortly, I know that this type of match with those types of distances with the accuracy of this gun, that's not going to really happen ever again. But still, I mean, you just gotta enjoy what you got when you have it, right? And overall, it's still very impressive to do over 9,000 damage. It's not very common, even in tier 10 vehicles and tier 10 matches among good players. But I feel like I've rambled on long enough, so remember, if you like this video, to click that like button. If you want to see more, subscribe. If you got a replay, be sure to check the description below for instructions on how to submit. And if you've got something to say about my channel, some suggestions on how I can make my channels or videos better, please put those in the comment section below, or just say random things about the video. I don't care. Say what you will, and I will certainly read it. But until next time, this has been Spang, and I am signing off.
MLG. Dynamo.